Hey guys, welcome to a new tutorial, and in this tutorial I'll be showing you how to cut a basic bustier pattern for both the front piece and the back piece. So if this looks like something you'll be interested in learning, please stay tuned to the video. So I've already divided my paper into two, one to be the front and the other to be the back, because this is all the paper that I have, and like you can see I also made a joining at this point. So for this paper that I have now, I have marked out a sewing allowance for the top and also for the bottom, because you can see my paper thinned out at the. To start out my drafting, the first thing I will do is measure out my neckline, measure out my shoulder. For this place you can see that my paper is absent on this part, so this place I've measured it out is a ½ inch, so I'm going to just assume I have that ½ inch on this side. Now my shoulder is, let me use 16, so I'm going to mark it out on this 16 end. Now I'm supposed to drop this point by 1 inch, but because I already have this ½ inch here, I'm going to add it to my measurement. So what I'm going to have here now is 1.5 inch, this half representing this half that is here. Now for this point here, I'm simply just going to mark out the ½ inch point here on this line. So I have this point here will be meeting with this point here to show my sewing allowance for the shoulder area. This now will be my new allowance for the shoulder area. So this is going to be my new allowance. Now from this original line here, which will not be the sewing line, I'm going to mark out my chest line, which is going to be this 7 here. So I'll come down to this line also and draw out the 7. Then I'm just going to match it in with what I have here, this point. I'm going to measure this, which is 7. I'm going to come up to the half area, which is 3.5. Then I'm going to come in by a ½ inch to this side. Now this is what I'm going to measure. So this is what I now have for this line. Now on this point here, I want to I want the tube to start on my body from the, let me say, from the 7-inch line, because I don't want it to be too expository. Now I'm going to mark out these 7 inches here. This is the part where my tube is going to join to. This is the yoke part. So this part where my tube, let's say this is a material, is going to join to this yoke part. So this is where I want it to start from. So I'm going to make this mark here. So now I'm going to come down to this place and measure out my nipple to nipple measurement, including an allowance, which is 4 inches. So my allowance is 1 inch, because my nipple to nipple is 7 inches. Then I added 1 inch, and now I'm making a half of it. So the 7 plus 1 is 8 inches divided by 2. That's the 4 inches that I'm having. So I'm going to mark it all the way to the bottom, and then I'm going to join it. Now on this same point here, I'm going to come to this down. I'm not going to count this sewing allowance, so please do note I'm not counting this allowance. I'm starting from the original line where my sewing should be, or where my fabric will start from. So from this line here, I'm going to measure out my shoulder to nipple measurement, which is 11.5. Then my shoulder to under bust measurement, which is 14.5. Then the remaining up to 17.5 will be for my waist, and then this part is for the allowance. Now on this part here that I have measured, I'm going to come down to this under bust area. Let me label it just so you can see. This is my under bust, this is my nipple to nipple measurement, and this is my waist. Now for this under bust area, I'm going to come down here and take out 1 inch on both sides, and I'm going to use a ruler to draw it down so it's as straight as possible. So this is what I have. Now on this nipple or my shoulder to nipple area, I'm going to create this line just like this. Now I'm going to freehand sketch it, or it depends on you. You could decide to use a ruler if you want. So this is what I'm going to have with a ruler. So this is what I have for this upper point. Now for up to this 7 that I want, I'm also going to draw a line on this 7 area where the fabric is going to meet the yoke. And on this part, I'm also going to go to the top and take out 1 inch on both sides. So this is this, and then this one here is also this. Then I'll come to the bottom part and join them together. So this is what I should have. So this is what I have. This is the center front and this is the side front. Now these are the 2 new pieces that let's assume I want my neckline to be deep by 8.5 inches, right? Let's assume I want it to be deep by 8.5 inches, or let me say 8 because I don't want it too open. Now come to this 8 mark here and make a mark on this 8 line. Now from this point, I'm going to make this front part join this other side. So I'm going to join it like that. Then I'll come down here with this curved ruler. So from this 8 mark line here, I'm going to make it touch this other side and drop it here. Now from this side, I'm going to make it also touch on this armhole area here. So I'm going to have something like this. Just so it is like low enough for the armhole. So this is what I have here. So as you can see, this is what I have. So now let me just trace this out with a marker so you see what it looks like. So right now, this is what I have and this is what I'm going to be trimming out. Now in case if you want to maybe add it, let's say like a net to the top or something else, this is the yoke part of the dress and you can just trim out this part just to be able to add it, or to be able to cut out another pattern to be able to join with this. But when you are, if you decide to do that, don't forget to add allowance for this place here. Don't forget to add allowance when um cutting out this for both sides. So now I'm going to trim this out. I'm going to trim this out and then I'm going to cut out the back pattern. So I didn't cut out the neck for it, but this is the yoke pattern for it. This was the same logic that was employed when I made this dress with this link above showing now. I want to cut out the back area, and just like I have done, I have closed out the breast pocket side. I've closed out the breast area, so I have cut out or marked out a line for my zipper allowance. So this is what I have after I'm placing the back. Then I'm just going to mark out where these are supposed to meet for the back area. So this is what I currently have when I place the front on the back, but I have not yet divided the back side or marked out the dart. So for this dart now, this is what I'm going to do. I'm going to mark out this point for the back and then mark it at the top side also. So it helps me know that this is where my dart is supposed to be for the back. Now, this is what I'm going to mark out. So, assuming I want my dart to go up by 6 inches, let's say, because of the back, let's say I want it to go up by 6 inches or by 7 inches, depending on whichever one I want. I'll simply make a mark here and then rule it all the way down to this line. This is what I'm going to have. This is what I'm going to have for the dart area. But assuming I'm not going to put a dart on this. So I like to come down to this part and then take out a part of the zipper allowance just so that it can lap and be flat at the back and not have that bulge that zips usually have. So along with doing this, that means that my new zip allowance has also shifted inside and changed. So this is going to be the new zip allowance. This now is going to be the new zip allowance. This is going to be my new zip allowance. This is going to be for the back dart. This is going to be for the back dart. And so let me trace this out with a marker so we can see what we have. So guys, I should have marked out the new zip allowance before placing the dart. So now that's just the only correction I want to make. So now this is how I intend to place it. And so this will be the new dart here. So I'm just going to draw, just like I did for this one, draw the line again. So this is the new dart. Now if you want to separate it, maybe you want to be able to join the back separately from like one piece on one piece separately, this is the line that we're going to use. So it's going to be something like this. Then you separate this panel with, this is center back, This is side back. Then you separate this center back panel with the zip allowance, and this one will be by itself. But because I will not be separating it, I'm just going to draw out my dot lines together. And this is what it's going to look like. So I'm just going to nudge here, nudge this down part, nudge this part also, nudge here, and then this is the back yoke. So for this one, I can cut out any design of neck that I wish to cut out at the back, but because I'm not being particular about the back, I'm not going to bother to even cut out the back area. I'm not going to cut out the back yoke. I'm just going to focus on this bottom part, which I am concerned with. I'm going to nudge it here. Then I'm going to do the same for this start area here. Then I'll come to the top and do the same thing. So this now is the back pattern. Yeah, this is the front pattern. So guys, I hope you're able to learn one or two things. We've come to the end of this video. Please, if you have any questions, kindly leave them in the comment section. Please don't forget to give this video a thumbs up. Don't forget to like. Yes, don't forget to subscribe. I'll see you in the next video. Bye. So please don't forget to nudge this down part when you finally cut it and you're sewing it on the actual material. So this is what it looks like if I was to sew it on a fabric. This is what it would look like.